Hi, I'm Suvajyoti Ghosh. I'm the founder and chief creative officer at Brandmovers India. Welcome to Social Samosa Live. So, digital is a term that we started using in 2016. At that time we had already started offering integrated services over and above our core capabilities, which are digital, right? So, TVCs, outdoor, print campaigns, etc. Now, for us, the journey has been quite interesting because we started off as a full-fledged digital agency, and then we built in-house production capabilities, resources, and moved to digital, right? Started doing traditional advertising, right? Which is kind of the other way around for most agencies, I believe, who had traditional skill sets and are acquiring digital agencies or building up capabilities. So that has been the journey for us. Now, where it has really helped is with challenger brands who wants to do great work, outsmart the competition, but doesn't want to kind of break a fortune doing it. So that's where I think we have built our core advantage. Also, Digital is not just a service level offering. It is kind of the way we think of problems, right? Where our ideas are not restricted by any medium, especially digital. Ideas could be across any medium, right? So that's what digital means, and that's how it has kind of helped us. We are now getting called for pitches where digital, which is our core skill set, might not be the key requirement. It might be a TVC pitch, and we are called. So that's how it has helped us. So, two-part question. Brandmovers is a global agency. So, in the US, we are very strong with technology, digital experiences, and loyalty, right? In the UK, we're really about promotions and data-driven campaigns. In India, we lead with creative and content, right? So, as a much smaller agency, the in India, the advantages that we have is we have a seamless team, right, which can work on traditional, digital. We have in-house production, so we can do things much faster and more efficiently, right? Now, with all the consolidation that is happening, it's great. I mean, that's the future. That is what is going to happen, because clients don't want to speak to multiple people. They would want someone to come and solve their problems, right? Creatively. But the problem with acquisitions is integration, right? Integration in terms of people, different kind of skill sets, right brain, left brain, working with each other, consultings, acquiring creative shops. And or the way of working in digital, which is much more fast paced, to mainline, which is a very process oriented space, how they can come together very well and deliver seamlessly, which by virtue of being small and integrated, because that's how we have kind of grown, we don't have silos to break down, right? So it's already smooth. So that's the advantage that we have. Now, in terms of niche agencies withering, I don't want to, businesses whether or not whether, I don't want to comment specifically on niche agencies. My view is, if the niche agencies are differentiated and not like, hey, we do everything, right? Which is the bane. You want to do everything, but if as a smaller agency, if you do everything, then you lose your edge from the bigger players. So as long as niche agencies can stay differentiated, charge a premium for their service, right? And obviously niche agencies are kind of founder driven. So if they are able to retain talent, I think there is a future. as soon as the vision gets diluted a little bit, then the problem starts arising. Another advantage that we are not niche, we are kind of mid-sized. So, which is not a very good space to be in, because you're like, hey, we need processes, but we are not too small also, right? So for us, the key advantage over and above an integrated team and integrated thinking is really, we can adapt to change much faster, right? So which is difficult for bigger setups, because the world might be changing. Senior management knows about the change, they want to move in a certain direction, but it might not be possible to do it very swiftly. Whereas just by being virtue of being small and nimble, we can do that. So that's the advantage that we have there. When working with anyone, the first thing is trust, right? Because we might promise whatever. If there is no trust, then you're always second doubting. So that's the first and most important thing. Second thing is, obviously this trust needs to be backed by capabilities. I'm kind of clubbing all of this into trust. The next thing is ownership. You might have capabilities, you might have trust, right? You might have established trust and confidence, but you need to own up everything that you propose. Just proposing a creative idea and expecting it to happen might not be the best way, right? So, and it starts not only from a great creative idea to the creative team, the account team, etc. Everyone needs to make it happen. So owner and feel part of that solution. So I think that those two are key things, right? So but they're also kind of given, because you might be able to achieve both these things. Then what is really what would really help clients, because clients are concerned about us solving their business problems with some kind of a creative solution, right? With a creative solution. So the next thing would be the power of the idea itself. Does it move the needle, which translates into commerce or more business for the client. So if these few things are in place, I think the relationships are good. The other thing is transparency. Now maybe not every brand wants this amazing creative idea to transform their brand. They might be looking at simple services which kind of are required, right? So again, it kind of comes back to trust and transparency. So I don't see a problem the brands being transparent about what they need, and then let the agency decide how they can service that need with excellent service, excellent creativity. So as long you're kind of transparent about what you need from the agency, and there is fair compensation, etc., I think it should work out fine. I'm obviously, once you have trust in the creative ideation power of the agency, also their execution abilities. So I'm kind of clubbing them as trust. It's not something that happens instantly. You might match with a brand, or a brand might match with an agency, but it takes them some time to build that confidence. That's where real great creative work starts happening, when each of the partners trusts the other one, that hey, these guys have my back, and the agency knows that if I have a great idea, the brand team will take it through their system and make it happen, right? So then you're kind of partners. Thanks for the question. It's an interesting question, because we do work with a lot of lifestyle, beauty and fashion brands. For fashion, and these are a little different categories, so I'll focus on fashion and lifestyle probably, and not directly beauty. So for fashion and lifestyle, one of the most important things is showcasing their products, right? And previously it would be lookbooks, store windows, different mediums. But now that has shifted to Instagram. Instagram is your lookbook, right? And that's where people discover your products, discover looks, discover trends. So beauty and lifestyle brands, they're all Instagram first now, the next thing would be, okay, great, now we've showcased looks, how do we sell products? Right. How do we drive commerce, right? Again, both Instagram and Facebook give great results. You also need to do some search if you have your own website. So it's a mix of all three which will eventually drive great results, and also remarketing, etc., right? If it's an e-commerce website. Few other things that fashion and lifestyle brands need are building aspirational, connecting with audiences whom they want to speak to, right? And a lot of them are focusing on millennials, etc. And finally, if they have kind of, because fashion is so fickle, it changes from season to season, can the brand build a purpose which kind of binds it together? Though their collections change, the purpose remains the same, right? So for all of these things, you have, the platforms are already there and more platforms will come, but I kind of look at Instagram as the lookbook and showcase. Obviously everything is linked to e-commerce. Facebook as a great platform to deliver brand message, right? But possibly not really looks all the time, which is better for Instagram. And then your ads, etc., across platforms, which give you more results, right? So if there are retargeting ads, you might see them everywhere. Obviously, like, there's no competition for Instagram in the fashion lifestyle space, right? And Instagram stories now drive even more results because our behavior has changed a little bit. So stories, I mean, if I have to rank them, they would be Instagram stories, Instagram post, Facebook promoted content or ads, then for brand purpose, etc., again, promoted content on both these platforms, right? But that's kind of the hierarchy in how ideally I would recommend people to focus on. See, 1 year is a very short time span to kind of answer this question, because whatever we're doing now, we'll do more of that, right? But there are a few fundamental changes which has happened in behavior, and I would like to think we've already adapted to some of those. So the first thing which has happened is, from the scroll economy, we would always scroll. Now it's all tap, right? That's a change in behavior and how we view things. So obviously brands need to leverage that, right? Because as a heavy Instagram user, I scroll less now. I do more of taps. And it's not just me, I mean, kind of talking about how behavior has changed. So what is our strategy for, this tap, this behavior which is like defined by taps on Instagram? The second thing that I would like to kind of talk about, I haven't seen much of that happening in an Indian context, but I've seen it happening elsewhere, right? So where do we spend most of our time? A lot of people now, other than social media, we're spending a lot of time on OTT, platforms like Netflix, right? And there is a strong affinity to shows and, fandom, right? So let's say something like Stranger Things, I saw them doing collabs with Nike, whole bunch of fashion brands to create merchandise, etc. So it'll be really interesting, if we can be forward thinking and build products around fandom. So I would like to see that in the next year, right? Other than that, everything stays, I mean, things will evolve, but at the end of the day, there's no discrediting videos on digital, etc. But at the end of the day, you need to build that emotional connect with the audience with whatever content you're putting out. So it needs to kind of touch some part of their heart, needs to be based on real cultural insights which can kind of make them converse, right? If your content has the power to do that, content, that works. And then obviously real time, I mean, we've just seen what Ixigo did, right? So all of that will keep happening. But tap is something that I'm really interested about. I'm really interested about how OTT can or streaming platforms can kind of collaborate with brands to drive commerce and storytelling. Performance-based KPIs for influencers, right? Right now we are leveraging influencers, macro, micro, etc. It'll be really interesting if influencers and brands come together in a way where they are also responsible for driving commerce, and the brands are also responsible for giving them a performance-based payout based on the amount of commerce that they can help drive. Over and above just promoting product and building awareness and affinity for the brand, it'll be really good if we can reach a place where influencers are helping drive commerce, which we can measure. Yes, they are. Most of the Indian awards are covering the social media categories. However, I had a look recently at all the Cannes and Spikes and Dubai Links categories. For digital, they seem to have some interesting categories that are not covered by any of the Indian awards, right? Now, if you are looking at people to create campaigns which are out of the box and then kind of get recognized for it, I feel we need to kind of evolve some of the categories so these campaigns can get entered in these special categories, as opposed to entering in a generic social media category where the competition will be much higher, and their impact of what they have done might not come out in the best way. So, however, it's all early days, and I think most of the awards might not be getting huge amount of entries on the current categories only. So that might be a challenge from award organizers. But because something like Cannes gets a whole bunch of entries from across the globe, I saw their categories are evolved, and it changes year on year. They keep adding new ones. See, I like to be wowed by the campaigns, right? That's what I want to feel when I go through the entries. I spend a lot of time looking at the results, the impact. I pretty much read everything and watch everything. I spend a lot of time doing it. For me, two things matter most. The creative idea or the core idea behind that. Is it new? Is it exciting? Does it capture people's imagination? And along with that, the kind of business impact that it might have. So I think for great ideas or great campaigns, I'm looking at campaigns which have done both.